tonight what's actually going on with this feud between QAnon and Alex Jones. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start off each and every one of these episodes by saying thank you to each and every one of my subscribers. Without you guys, this channel just would not be possible. So thank you to each and every one of you who come here and have hit that button. If you have not hit that subscribe button, now's a great time to come do it. Just come over here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, as soon as these videos get posted, you'll be notified. But we're going to jump right into the latest Q post, and we're going to talk about the different things that could be going on. And also stick around, because later in this video, we're going to cover the Serial Brain 2 follow-up post explaining some things in some pretty different terms. And also stick around, because at the end of the episode, I'm going to play Alex Jones's response, his latest response to what's being said. So I want to give this definitely an objective look, and take my word for it, guys. I can be on both sides of this issue just for the simple fact that I'm a guy who likes QAnon, and I'm a guy who's followed and I liked Alex Jones. So I'm just trying as best as you to figure out exactly what's going on here. So please just stick with me through this, and we're going to look at it, and we're going to try to look at it as objectively as we can, and we're going to make some bold accusations according to other people's claims on this video. So if you're not ready for that, I apologize, but this is the way it's going to be here. We are always going to cover everything equally and evenly, and we're always going to give it a fair shot. And then I'm going to let you guys decide, because it's not for me to tell you what to think. It's for you guys to figure out what to think for yourselves. So the first is an AN0N, right? And I know this is just where we're at right now, so just bear with me through this. But it says, we've all been blinded too long. Alex Jones is not alt media. He is a traitor. He makes us all look crazy. Expletive him, right? And the Q responds. He actually chooses this post to respond to, which is interesting to me. But he says, probably because the board's been blowing up about anti-Alex Jones stuff and all of that, he says, time to move on, big week ahead. And then he cuts to this, which is pretty interesting. And it's a video and an article talking about how Alex Jones plays a character on air. This came out during the court case when he was in a custody battle with his wife for the kids. And, he says he has custody. I don't want to get into that. That's not my place to talk about his family life or anything. But Q's pointing us to this, I think, because he's trying to tell us that he's playing a character. And to be quite frank, I think, yes, he is playing a character, and he said he plays a character in his satire. He also argues that he's not playing a character in the sense that he has a lot of very true views. So what do you guys think? You guys let me know what you think in the comments. But this is the whole thing, and it goes into about his kids and how they're talking about whether, all this stuff that's really neither here nor there. This is the meat and potatoes, I think, of what we're supposed to take away from that. And then Q just kind of leaves it there. And in the very next post, Q says, people united, hold the power. And we're going to talk about Alex Jones more in a minute. Just hold on. People united, hold the power. And then it goes here to Breitbart.com. So this article, talking about how Facebook is facing a class action lawsuit for what now? For saving all of your text and call logs. If you had the app on your phone before 2012, it would seem. If you read through this article, it's quite disturbing, some of the allegations that are being made here. But they're saying the lawsuit says, in other words, that Facebook scraped years worth of call and text data, including whether the call was incoming, outgoing, or missed, the data and time of each call, the number dialed, the individual called, and the duration of each call. So no wonder how they became the biggest company. One of the biggest social media networks in the world. They basically have been spying on us and using data we never even wanted to give them in the first place in order to expand their networks. So, and this is all back to what Q was saying. So this was actually a DARPA project called LifeLog that ended the same day that Facebook started. And the point being was to collect as much individual in aggregate on each person, and then store that in a metadata base so that it can be pulled up like as easily as making a Google search in a archive. You basically go on and you search. If you were the target, let's say, I would take the government, let's say, or I'm Facebook. I would take your email and put it in there, and it'll pull up everything that email is associated with. And that's the whole point. That's what they want. That was their whole thing going on here. So this is one for just $5 million. And I just think it's interesting that I think everybody should try to join as many of these lawsuits as they can to stand up to this. But that's obviously what Q's referring to. So there you guys have that. And now we're going to jump. And I hate to jump through these quickly, this one, because it needs more attention. Maybe we'll come back to it. But we need to be united, and we have to get together and enact these lawsuits and do what we have to fight the injustice as it's been plainly committed against us. Now, this next one's very interesting. So Q posts here shortly after the last post that he made, a couple hours, it would seem. A few hours. He says, they attempted to infiltrate, repackage, and rebrand as their own. Now, remember, if you guys are interested, let me just say this really quick before we read through this. Watch this video here if you want to get the full breakdown of the first Serial Brain post. And because we're just going to follow up with Serial Brain because he's obviously following up to this story. And we just want to cover that all the way through. And Serial Brain is a great contributor to the Great Awakening over on Reddit. So they are a very good contributor. Now, but watch this video if you want to get the first, like, where this all came from. If you're kind of like out of left field going, what? That'll explain a lot more. But we're going to start reading. It says, they attempted to infiltrate, repackage, and rebrand as their own. Profit vehicle. Destroy through misinformation. Killbox. Absorb the quote-unquote confused. Reroute traffic to other platforms. Action was needed. Killbox 2. Prevent false decodes, misinformation. Killbox targeted infection, and Killbox, when I say it's brackets, for those of you who are late to the game here. Infection prior to expansion. Simple, non-direct, quote-unquote statements made. Be careful who you follow. Some are profiting off this movement. Message sent. Message received. Those guilty immediately reacted predictably. Timetable accelerated. Misinformation attack. Exposed. Attempts to divide. We responded. House cleaning. Heal. Killbox here. Core. The important to clean prior to next events. The choice has always been yours. The choice will always be yours. This is not a game. This is not a popularity contest. This is life. Freedom, together, we the people, where we go one, we go all. Killbox, time to move on, dark to light. Attacks will only get worse. Truth is freedom. Truth is logic. Stay the course. Q. So there's a lot to be read into here if you're going to basically put it against or juxtapose it against what we've been hearing lately with Q. We can definitely make a few broad generalizations about what Q's trying to say here. Now, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with Q here until I like to wait until all the facts are out. I'm not in the business of just jumping to speculative conclusion, although I do on occasion. So, but I'll let you know when I'm doing that, and I'll make it very clear. So here we go. They attempted to infiltrate, repackage, rebrand as own. Well, in context of what we've been talking about, it would be fair to say it's probably exactly what we would think. Corsi and Jones, profit vehicle. So they saw QAnon as a vehicle for profit that would actually hinder their profit vehicle as well. So they were trying to hitch on to that, it would seem. And they wanted to destroy it through misinformation and then absorb the confused people who weren't sure of what's going on, reroute traffic to other platforms. Action was needed, so obviously Q's saying he had to do something. And he says, prevent false decodes, misinformation, kill targeted infection prior to expansion. So this is what they did. They prevented false decodes and misinformation by saying, be careful who you follow. And they used simple, non-direct statements like, some are profiting off this movement. But then they say here, Q goes on, message was sent. So obviously the message was sent and received by first Corsi, because we saw Corsi was the first one to really go off on QAnon and say this is just not what I signed up for, or not what it is, and so on and so forth. So, I apologize for that. The actual, what they're saying here is that those guilty reacted predictably, as in Corsi. You had a timetable accelerated for them to attack Q, and it seems that Q is saying that he exposed them, or they exposed themselves, and that there were attempts to divide those who were following Q. Obviously, if you have such a huge audience as Alex does versus a growing audience like Q, an attempt to divide that audience and turn them on Q, which is an upcoming thing, is certainly something that would be something they would try to do. And then I think both sides are calling out that this is an attempt to divide. So that's a very interesting dynamic we're finding here. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Obviously, I'm doing this so that you guys get the information so that you can make your decision for yourself. But it's saying we responded, house cleaning, heal, Killbox core here, important to clean prior to next event. So obviously there's something coming down the pike that's going to be big that I think is going to be exposing something, but we're not sure yet. It says the choice has always been yours. The choice will always be yours. This is not a game. This is not a popularity contest. This is life, freedom, together, we the people, where we go on, we go all. These are all just basically saying that Q's given us along the line choices. He says, it's kind of like a red pill, blue pill moment from the Matrix, where you can either choose to follow this and go deeper down the rabbit hole, of course, and learn more information. A lot of it disturbing to people. I mean, I think I'd take for granted the fact that I just know things that are just disturbing, like what the Clintons have been accused of doing and what Obama's accused of doing and all this stuff. And then you think about that, and you think about so many people out there who just have no idea. But they gave us this choice, and they said this is not a game, and this is not a popularity contest, so it's not about who's the most popular. I mean, I know Alex is the most popular, but, it's like being the biggest mob boss. You want to take out all the other mob bosses because you don't want to compete with them, and you think you could do it better. So that's not what this is. But it's saying this is life, and you guys get what the next is. But time to move on is basically a reference back to what he was saying before in a previous post, where he was saying it's a time to move on. He said it. Somewhere, yeah, right here. Time to move on. Excuse me, I don't know why it took me so long to find it. It's the one right below it, of course. Truth is freedom, truth is logic. Stay the course, Q. So the attacks will only get worse, but we are the ones here putting lightness where there is darkness, and we'll just have to wait and see what those attacks are. And I said I'm going to give Jones a fair shot at the end of this video to state his case. So here's the next one I thought was very interesting. So it's saying, this is Q reposting a comm from January 8th, 2018 that he posted, where he said that this is important. No private comms, past, present, future, no comms made outside of this platform. Any claims that contradict the above should be considered fake news and disregarded immediately. Where we go one, we go all patriots. Very true. Q did say this before, so it is interesting to hear so many people claiming that they talked to Q, and I even heard in a video Jones say something to the effect of that he golfs with Q, or he golfs with guys who know Q, and that he's talked to one of the Q people. So I'm not telling you whether that's true or not. I'm just telling you that that's what he's claimed, and it's obvious that we should think about that and consider it when taking all of this into how we understand what's going to happen here. And we're going to get into something really quick that's going to be very important before we get into the next few posts. Now, this is the next follow-up by Serial Brain 2 here, and I'll leave a link to it because we're not going to go through everything that he goes through here, because he is a little, he's doing a little victory lap up here, which I don't blame him. He's happy that he was selected by Q to have his work referenced, and he kind of says in there that it's not just about him, it's about everybody who's working hard and diligently putting up an effort. And then it was a shout out from Q that he understands what they're doing, and is it's like a shout out saying, hey, thank you, good work, we're going to feature your work because it's valid. Now, this is interesting because he talks about Corsi and Jones, but moreover, he talks about Jones. And it's there are some things here that are a little disturbing if found to be true. So we're going to go ahead and read through it very quickly, and it's going to be quite controversial. So I warn you ahead of time, if you're not um, ready for this, just understand this is an objective look at what could be going on. I'm not telling you that this is true or not. I'm giving you this so that you can decide for yourself whether or not you think it's true. So just remember that in the back of your mind as you go through this. First, I will address, and I'm going to read here what he's saying here. But he's saying some arguing InfoWars hosted Trump, some waving the unity flag. Those who play chess now, when we have a check position with a pawn, it means the pawn is protected. We have witnessed Corsi's progressive dive into the abyss, violently defying Trump and Q, and we also know how Corsi worships Alex. If Alex was as much concerned by unity as he was here, or as we were, excuse me, why didn't he instruct Corsi to get back into the ranks and stop his embarrassing nonsense? Why? Once the pressure forced Corsi out of his hiding place, Alex lost his check position, and only a few hours were required for him to confirm what he has been hypocritically hiding since the very first day Q started posting. Let's watch an excerpt of his yesterday's show until 35:28.
The reason this is important, obviously, is QAnon was a good source. I talked to my military folks. They ferreted into it. They actually know some of the people involved with it. It was people acting on their own. They weren't giving anything secret, but they were showing that they knew what was about to happen on some issues to get credibility. My concern was that could have been a setup to get people's confidence and then sit there and put out a bunch of disinfo. But then I talked to some others. They said, no, overall, those are some good people. But how they do it is they go into the 4chan, they hack it, they take down the links, they put out a fog, then they start attacking people that had been supporting the real QAnon to basically just destroy the entire thing and discredit it. And that's why I was always saying I'll focus on it, but my main focus is just public intelligence, human intelligence, the major trends, what we know is unfolding. And we know there is a war going on inside the deep state. So the narrative being put out by QAnon before was one of hope and truth and very, very positive. Now it's one of infighting and destruction. So I just think we should recap what's happened, get into the latest, and then basically stick a fork in the avatar of QAnon. It is now an overrun disinformation fount, Dr. Jerome Corsi.
Well, I agree with everything you've said, Alex. This is a now completely compromised source. The psych op that took over QAnon, and I see now. I think there's signs of NASA being involved at this point. But the board, the 8chan board
that's
has now
interesting.
been overrun with.
It says, there you have it, without a doubt, who is who. Check Alex's comments section. InfoWars is self-destructing. Who would have imagined alternative media is about to go through an irreversible mutation and that InfoWars would not be a part of it? What an amazing time to be alive. So he's kind of taking, seemed to be a little happiness in that, but okay. The next one, Q1328. There was no attempt to divide. There was, however, a strategic move to reveal. Now, as to Trump being interviewed by InfoWars, this is normal. InfoWars deserved it. I am not denying InfoWars played a major role in Trump's election. So did Bannon. How did it end? The political chessboard is made of living objects. If these objects lose their way and try to overreach when the leader is as strong as Trump, it never ends well for the gambler. He would immediately be reminded of his disposability. So as long as each actor knows his place and does what he is to do, the party goes on and everybody is okay, and everybody dances. It says, now, I would like to ask you a question. Why do you think Q posted, be careful who you are following? What triggered this post? We were already aware there was a Corsi problem weeks before. Why did Q post this at a particular moment? I conjectured in a previous post that he had some kind of intel that pushed him to do it. Yes, we know he was pushed to do it because in Q1297, he says, statements today needed to be made. Well, I will show you what substantially contributed to Q making this statement. It says on May 9th, 2018, Q posts this. He says, Q1324, corrected, we all make mistakes, busy day. Now, this, guys, is very interesting. I want you to pay attention here. I thought this was an incredible take on what was going on, but it's kind of a stretch. So it's speculative. So I'm not 100% sold on it yet, but I mean, this guy's got a great mind if he can put together these kind of things. It's pretty good. It says he is talking about the trip code change procedure. Why do you think Q is bothering informing us he made a mistake and even detailing it? Q1323. We did not input the quote Q hashtag unquote in the beginning, which exposed the password. It's not the first time he changes his trip code, and the change does not follow a particular frequency rule we are aware of. He could have changed the trip code, make his mistake, silently correct it in conjunction with the board operators, and we would have never known. But Q wanted us to know he made a mistake. Why? Because of this. And this is a tweet from Jerome Corsi on the 10th, where he talks about the quote-unquote new Q. Is deep state with AI warfare, disinformation, mission to divide the movement. I will find new ways to contribute. So what I think you want to focus here on is the AI part, that they want to call it AI. And that's what Serial Brain's drawing your attention to. But he goes on to say, you got it? Q knew Corsi was going to accuse him of being AI. If you watch InfoWars yesterday's show, Alex makes the same claim. This was their final move. This was their end game. This is the intel Q had all along. By making this mistake and insisting about it, we all make mistakes. Q is essentially saying he is human and is pulling the rug out from under Corsi's feet. Do you imagine what went through Corsi's head when he saw this post? It did not prevent him from still making the accusation. He had to stick to their plan. Q636, predictable. We see all, we hear all, wizards and warlocks. These people are really dumb. That was a Q post. It says, now why is this relevant? Why is it important for Alex and Corsi to position in Q's timeline interrogation about him being AI? Because it is not clearly covered by the First Amendment. The legal expert conversation is ongoing. So they talk about how Siri, those links go to articles talking about Siri, what's her free speech rights and AI free speech rights, and how the debate's still open. It says, so now close your eyes for a minute, expand your thinking, and imagine a conversation Alex could have with his crew about shutting down Q's board. Do you see it? The legal option would immediately be considered. A skilled lawyer could come up with the idea of capitalizing on the legal uncertainty surrounding AI's free speech to trigger precautionary measures in a lawsuit. The board would then be shut down for a while until the legal situation reaches its conclusion. This is why Corsi needed to create some kind of interaction history with our movement to then become a quote-unquote credible source that he could accuse Q of being AI. Do you want to know how this weird idea knocked at my door? Here, listen to Corsi until 252. And this video here goes over Corsi saying that Q is inviting a lawsuit, which is, I've never heard anybody ever talk about QAnon. How would you sue QAnon? I mean, this, I guess, is how you would sue it. But he says in this video, when you watch it, QAnon wants a lawsuit.
QAnon did, which were, the posts here, this Apple airplane, a jet blue airplane, 1308 through 1309 and 1310, which I pretty much ridiculed yesterday when they came out as being more cryptic nonsense, and looked to me like this was now getting into the realm where Q is, basically incoherent, making no sense at all, and probably inviting a lawsuit.
So Serial Brain goes on and says, did you catch it? It looked to me like, this is now getting into the realm where Q is basically incoherent, making no sense at all, and probably inviting a lawsuit. I mean, no offense to Dr. Corsi, but he was the one who was really making not a lot of sense there near the end. At least he didn't really make the effort, it seems. So, I mean, that's just my take on it. I don't want to interject too much of my opinion here because this is a controversial issue, and I really want to hear what you guys have to think, both sides. But it says lawsuit. It seems Dr. Corsi has been putting some thought into this for it to randomly pop up in a YouTube segment. I do not know anyone who has ever raised this issue. Do you? And I don't. I rack my brain. I don't know. I do this for a living, basically. I do this every day. I put up this information and search it and research it. So I've never heard anybody make this insinuation that Q could ever be sued or is inviting a lawsuit. That doesn't make any sense to me. You can't sue an anonymous person. I mean, if you really legitimately don't know who they are. So I don't know what that means anyway. It says, so my friends, if a legal situation was to target our beloved board one day, you know where this inconvenience would probably come from. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to wait for that day to come. Hopefully not. Now the Q778 archive everything offline. It says, and we'll finish up here with the rest of what he has to say. But he says, and this is the stuff where it gets a little crazy to me. And I gonna read it to you and just, you guys let me know what you think. I don't know. This is a stretch to me. This is where the stretch comes in. But it could be very true. It could be very false. I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comments, but let's go over it. It says, do you believe in coincidences? When divine assistance manifests itself, this is what it looks like. As I was writing these lines, they were having a talk about my thoughts about this post right here, where it's just talking about InfoWars. This guy got a newsletter from InfoWars where they misspelt these words, right? So, and this conversation's not important really, but it says yesterday at 6:24 p.m. Info sent this out where it says QAnon compromise intel source hijacked by the SEEP states disinformation campaign, right? No, just a simple typo at first, but not if you ask Serial Brain. He's got a lot more to say about what this could be. Okay, so you guys stick around and let's listen to this. It says, do you think an experienced multi-million-dollar media operation would make such a mistake? No. This is a secret ciphered communication. Let's decipher it. Q taught us in the board how to do this. This is the text. Q compromised intel source hijacked by SEEP states disinformation campaign. So we get the obvious first clue. And what he says basically is that you get the word, the letters DC first. That's the letters that are missing from deep and campaign, right? And he talks about the cipher here, goes through all this stuff about code breaking and whatnot. And he says, and I'll put this link in the article or in the description if you guys want to come check that stuff out. But he says that there's these words trapped in there, or in there that says DC buy op. Let's expand. And he's saying DC is in Washington, D.C., buy operation. Now, Washington, D.C. is where Dr. Corsi is the InfoWars correspondent in Washington, D.C. So the newsletter error, he says here, is a message to their network of covert operators informing that since Corsi has been exposed, his operation is shut down. They are moving to whatever next phase they have. You are not dreaming, folks. You are not watching a movie. This is the real world. This is the InfoWars we all used to trust. Now I have a few questions for you. And these are Serial Brain's questions. He says, if InfoWars uses this kind of infiltration methods and this kind of comms, what do you think InfoWars really is? Who is really behind InfoWars? Why does Alex disrespect Trump and desperately look for his attention? Why is Alex announcing Trump's possible murder at every single show? Why is Trump now showing him utter disregard? Why does Trump now know about, or what does Trump know about InfoWars since he became POTUS and took control of the intelligence agencies? Happy hunting. And it starts off with links to different videos that if you guys want to come get on that rabbit hole, you're more than welcome to. But I brought you that information because I thought it was very important to share it. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments, because this is the incredible info that we're basically being given and going over here now. So that's where all that leads, from this here to where we are now. And at the end, we'll let Alex Jones give his rebut to what's going on here. But the next one, it says, reread crumbs. It says, it was never about worldwide, for Iran. It says, it never was about worldwide safety and security. It was never about nuclear disarmament. It was about opening a new untapped market. It was about securing a black site. The exchange, Uranium One, risked the welfare of the world. Why? Money, organized, planned by Bill Clinton, HRC, carried out by Hussein. Remember, HRC ran against Hussein. Uranium One donations to Clinton Foundation. 1.7 billion in cash transferred to Iran. 4 routes, 5 planes. Why did the total withdrawal actually depart EU? Why EU? Define bribe. Define kickback. Special interest groups. What U.S. EU companies immediately closed large deals in Iran post-deal? And it gives this link here, which we'll go over. But it says cross-check companies against political and foundation payments. Define bribe. Define kickback. Why are people panicking about Iran deal pullout? They never thought she would lose. Truth coming Q. So this is really fascinating. So we're going to kind of break this down real quick. Nothing about the Iran deal was about safety and security. That's what Q is saying here. He's saying the Iran deal was all about, it was never about nuclear disarmament, and it was about getting a new untapped market. So there was an untapped market in the East or in the Middle East that companies here in America wanted to tap, and finding a black site, securing a black site. So imagine, apply the same principles to the things we've learned here on the Q board about North Korea to Iran. It's a CIA-run black site. That North Korea is not what we thought it was. It wasn't a real dictatorship. It wasn't a real country that was actually working against us. It was a country being used by the CIA to hold us hostage. And in turn, we were holding them hostage. So, this is crazy, right? And it says, the exchange, Uranium One, risked the welfare of the world. So the exchange was in order for Iran to allow companies and Western companies to come in and hit those untapped markets, and to let the intelligence agencies and the CIA in to put their black sites in, they would give them nuclear power, give them nuclear weapons like they did in North Korea. Same principle. Now it says why? Money. It was all about money. Organized, planned by Bill Clinton, carried out by Hussein and HRC. They all did it together. This was their big plan they've been working on for a long time. It says, remember how HRC ran against Hussein. Uranium One, donations to Clinton Foundation. Okay? So this was all organized. This was all part of the plan. This was all set well before Hussein got there. But it's telling us something very interesting here, that the 1.7 billion cash that was sent to Iran was in 4 different routes on 5 different planes. So maybe 2 planes did land in Iran, but where did the other 3 planes go? That would be the question, right? Interesting questions indeed. It says, did the total withdrawal actually depart the EU? No. What if a lot of that money was sent to EU countries? And it says, why EU? As a bribe, as a kickback to their special interest groups to keep them from shining a light on us allowing Iran to get a nuclear program. And not shining light on us putting the black sites there, or going to basically sink our teeth into that untapped market. Interesting. It says, what U.S. EU companies immediately closed large deals in Iran post-deal? And it gives this article from the New York Times, and it is talking about how European companies actually rushed in to invest in Iran before or after the Iran deal was put up. And it's saying things like Daimler, one of the automakers, Siemens of Germany, a truck, they make the locomotives, and a few other countries were involved here. So these are big time companies, Boeing and Airbus, you name it, right? These companies went in gung ho because they thought they were going to be able to just hit this untapped market and take full advantage of it, which I'm not against capitalism or capital expansion, but at what cost? Is it really worth giving people who chant death to America and burn American flags in their parliament nuclear weapons and want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth? I mean, that to me just doesn't seem like a fair exchange, but everybody's entitled to their own opinion, I guess. And then it says, cross-check those companies against political plus foundation payments. So these are all the big liberal donators who probably hit up the Clinton Foundation and the Obama campaign, Hussein and all that. Define bribe, define kickback. So that's what the pay was for. This is what the whole Uranium One deal was about. It was about getting these companies, these big companies who are making the big donations into the foundations, into this country that was an untapped market. And a big market at that, a fairly moderate population inside of Iran. It's not like they're all the hardliners burning flags and chanting death to America, but because we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but let's be honest, this was the plan, and it obviously was not a good plan in my view, to give people who hate America and want us destroyed nuclear weapons. So that's never a good idea. It says, why are they panicking about the Iran deal plot? Well, obviously, because they were on the losing end of that bet. And it says, they never thought she would lose. Truth coming, Q. Well, they never thought for 1 second she would lose. So it's unfortunate, but it's just the way it is, right? Now, we're going to jump right into the next post here. And Q's responding to his own post. And he says, digest, next. What CEOs have resigned post-POTUS election? Cross-check against companies in Iran post-deal. You have more than you know. Happy hunting, Q. That's an interesting one. I have been meaning to work on that. And that is something that I'm definitely going to have to put up there. We'll have to go back and do that. That is certainly interesting. But you guys can do that for yourselves and leave that in the comments if you have any thoughts or ideas. But I'm going to work on that for you guys and get that up in that whole video that I'm still working on. It was supposed to go up last week. Still a lot of work. So Q's narrowing it down for us. And I'm going to definitely work on crossing those because that's a much shorter list and it'll be much easier to define those terms. But now it says they are freaking out because someone in Iran has threatened to name names of politicians in the West who took bribes to get this deal done. There is a twat, or I don't know, is that a bad word? Sorry, excuse me. I don't want to, I'm American, I don't know. It says there is a person, I guess, to that effect a couple of breads ago. I don't know, is that a term that I'm not familiar with yet? You guys, I'm sure I know we get like 25,000 comments where you're like, that's what this is, but thank you. Anyway, we know what all that means, though. It's an AN0N posting here, and he's saying a couple breads ago, so a couple of like forums ago, right? So they go through the threads. So I don't know if that meant tweet, but it says news beginning to leak, not new to ANONs, old, future proofs past, eyes on Q. So we're going to go ahead and say that he's making the insinuation basically that excuse me, sorry. We are in the middle of a Q dump and it's hailing right now. The storm is upon us. So it says it would be news to people, but not ANONs, because that means people who are on this board working this stuff, this information, this is not going to be news to you, which is very impressive, because what it's saying is that this is going to be another proof of Q in the future when we see exactly what comes out about what's going on in Iran. Maybe it's exactly what Q's been dumping here. Okay. So the ANON post, nuke inspector quit. And it says, Q responds, coincidence after Iran deal withdrawal, corruption everywhere. And what's that referring to, of course, is the information that's just breaking now about the UN nuclear watchdog's inspection chief quits after U.S. withdrawal from Iran deal. So the head of inspections for the UN is quitting. Well, I wonder why. Maybe there was not a lot of inspecting going on. Maybe just a whole lot of bribe taking, in my opinion, possibly. So it's very fascinating. This is happening as we speak here. So you guys are getting the latest information as it's being made available. So I really hope that you're enjoying this. Now, coincidence? No, there are no coincidences, not especially with Q. It just seems that everything that he is able to produce or they're able to produce is very factual and very much ahead of the curve. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments, but that's basically what we have here. Now, this is an ANON posting here saying, we are not divided. Don't let the concerns or the concern blanks. And for those of you who don't know, that's not a derogatory word necessarily against anybody. It's just what people tend to call themselves on those boards. You can be many different types of that variation. So It says, don't let the concern blanks or whatever expletive tell you otherwise. The core is finally healing with the bad actors out of the way. Things are looking up. We are in this together. We're finally communicating again. All is good. Cannot say thank you enough. FF. So this is an AN0N post here, and Q responds, Godspeed, Patriot Q. And Q responds in his next post. He says, if America falls, the world falls. God bless our brave fighting men and women. They deserve our deepest gratitude. Through their strength and the millions of united patriots around the world, we will succeed in this fight. Peace through strength. Now comes the pain. Q. All right, guys, this is it. Buckle up. This is going to continue to get crazier and crazier as we go. So you guys definitely want to stick around on this channel and get as much information as you can as it comes available. As I promised, we're going to let Alex Jones have a short response here to his QAnon accusations, because I want to be fair. I want to give both sides of the argument. So here's Alex Jones. If you want to listen, go ahead.
Which is the fall of QAnon, the internet sensation. First started hearing about QAnon about a year ago, and most of what we saw there was already public intelligence. It was stuff that was already known. But some of it was pretty good information. I mean, we had been part of the storm, the American people, all of you, myself. We had said Trump was really ahead in the polls. We had said that CNN was staging the debates, and we said that the New York Times was wrong to say a 98% chance Hillary was going to win. Remember, we were the storm. We were the public people that wore the Make America Great Again hats and the Hillary for President hats. We went to the RNC. We marched in the streets from Dallas, Texas to Chicago, Illinois. We have faces. We have families. We had the Antifa mobs go after us. So we got Trump elected. We stood up against the bullies. We stood up against the PSYOP. And then about 6 months after Trump was in office, people began to say on 4chan and other boards, look, QAnon is Trump. QAnon is the reason Trump won. QAnon is the reason Jesus rose from the dead. And I was like, well, QAnon says some things that are pretty good. And I talked to some of my sources, quite a few of them, in Central Command and in other areas. And they said, yeah, we know some of the guys in the military that are kind of using that as a pen name. But anything anonymous, obviously you've got to watch. And then we started hearing, Trump, would have all these Clinton people, basically in jail by last November. And stick with the plan. Sessions is good. And Mueller's secretly on Trump's side. And it's all this big secret master plan, this big giant sting that's going on. All these people are going to get it. That's just not true, folks. Mueller is a Clinton globalist, Bush, deep state operative. He's fighting with everything he's got to try to bring down Trump. They've got the mole, who I'm going to shoot a video later on, exposing from my high-level sources who the mole of the FBI and CIA and deep state was inside the Trump campaign. He was only on the periphery, by the way. And he was trying to handle Papadopoulos, but it didn't work. I'm going to reveal that pretty much exclusively. It's already known. Daily Caller kind of already figured it out. I made some phone calls last night and this morning, so I'm going to get to that too. But, again, QAnon tells us Sessions is God. And Trump's just putting on a big act here when he criticizes Sessions, or when he criticizes Mueller. And so when we are against Sessions, why, ladies and gentlemen, we are against Trump. And so, Alex, please stop trying to sabotage Trump, you damn Hillary supporter. We're anonymous out here on these message boards, and we say we're God, and you're going to listen to us real good. Well, guess what? I'm not. I didn't listen to Hillary's threats. I didn't listen to Soros's attacks, or Georgetown and the Vatican suing me. So I think I'll be just fine standing up to some of the little government goons, Southern Poverty Law Center folks, and this will be exposed soon, out there operating as Q. And I talked to some folks yesterday who talked to some military officers who were high up. They have figured out who one of the guys is that we talked to the generals through, and they put out a picture of him 10 years ago. I think that's a real fancy thing they discovered. I pretty much told you the guy's name on air. Told you he'd been on television and in the news before, trying to expose Fort Hood before it happened and stuff like that. But expanding on that, these are real people. I'm a real person. My name's Alexander. Emmerich Jones. I was born in Dallas, Texas. There is some type of tree frog over there chirping. And all of this is really going on. Oh, better not say that. I got sued for Pepe the Frog in a poster we were selling. So even a frog chirping is owned by that guy out in California that's suing me. Do we have a license from the Pepe the Frog guy?
Yeah, I'll contact.
All right, so there you go. It's Alex Jones. He's been given his chance to say what he said. To me, here's my personal opinion, and I'll try to keep it objective, but I'm not afraid to share my opinion by any means. Alex does not seem incredibly frazzled by this, but at the same time, he seems to be taking it very, very seriously. And I have to say, personally, I've watched Alex Jones in the past. I appreciate some of his reporting on certain things. Yes, he does break stories about like AI and stuff that's going on that's fascinating. He's a good source for certain information, but I'm going to reserve my opinion about whether or not he is actually involved in some larger scheme operation. Because what Serial Brain is suggesting is that he is as deep as it gets in the deep state, and that he is a part of some covert operation of disinformation that was started a long time ago. And all of that could very well be true, but it could very well be the exact opposite. He could just be a genuine patriot who's trying to get the truth out there, and who may or may not have, he has different priorities. Think about it. I mean, he has this multi-million-dollar news network that he's trying to keep alive. And if he saw QAnon as a threat to that, his ability to control the information or be the singular source for it, then he can actually, it'll divest some of his actual, it'll remove some of his audience. Some people may choose not to listen to him anymore. I'll leave that to you guys. I don't want to tell you what to think. I'm trying to bring you as an objective, as a portrayal of this as I possibly can. So I've let you hear Serial Brain's second follow-up post. I've let you hear his rebut to QAnon. I've let you go through the facts for yourself and hear what Q has to say about it. So the only thing left to do is to listen to what you guys have to say. So this leads me greatly very well into this. I want to thank everybody for watching. If you haven't hit that subscribe button and you're looking for a way to help out the channel, it helps me out big time. Please come here and click the big red subscribe button. That's the best way you can help out the channel. The second best way, which is exactly what I like to segue into, was to go down and scroll down at the end of this video and leave your thoughts, theories, insights, comments, your opinion, whatever you have to say about this issue, because I'm dying to read the comments on this video. I really want to get you guys, get your input on what this is all about, and what you think about this issue at large. So please chime in with your thoughts, theories, insights, and comments down there. That's a great way. We try to have our own QAnon research board at the end of each one of these videos where we go over the Q posts and we try to analyze them and figure out exactly what they mean. So you guys go down there and contribute and start dialogue, start conversations with one another. And you guys, even if you can't comment, just scroll down and read through the comments. I guarantee you're going to learn something you didn't know before starting this video. Now, if you're looking for another way to help out, I really appreciate everyone who comes over here to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. You can search Just Informed Talk. You come here to this landing page, click this button to become a patron. It really helps me out, but guys, I need all the help I can get. I want to keep this channel going and keep it growing and getting bigger. So please come over here and contribute if you can. I want to thank everyone in advance for coming over and checking out this page. You can come check out my rewards and my goals. And it's just, it's great for everyone who helps out to contribute. Now, this is the best time of the episode, my favorite part. We get to talk about God. And there's so much to take away from this. I mean, there's these stories of corruption. There's these storylines of deception. There's these storylines of mistrust and just all of these different themes that we're experiencing through this Q is fascinating because it connects us to God even more, I think. It should make us all believe that much more that God is out there and that he cares about us and loves us. if only for the fact that we're in a time where we have access to all this information, and that we have a chance at exposing this evil, and that we have a chance at exposing the corruption, exposing the pedophile, globalist, Luciferian, Satanists, and their cabal of the Roths and the Rothschilds and the Soros and the Saudis and these people. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, having such an expanded use of information or ability to gain information. If you look at the way that culturally our kids and our fellow societal members are being brainwashed by TV, by subliminal messaging, by tonal frequencies, you name it, it's being used against you. The warfare is against your mind. And Alex Jones had it right in the sense that this is an information war that we are in. But I digress with Psalm 57. And why do I pick Psalm 57? Because I pray for protection for myself, my family, my loved ones, and most importantly for every one of you out there. Because each and every one of us have to seek God's guidance and his wisdom to get his protection and get his love. So let's go ahead and read this psalm very quickly. And it's going to speak a lot of truths to what we're talking about here. But it says, "Be gracious to me, God, be gracious to me, for I take refuge in you. I will seek refuge in the shadow of your wings until danger passes. I call to God Most High, to God who fulfills his purpose for me. He reaches down from the heavens and saves me, challenging the one who tramples me. God sends his faithful love and truth. I am in the midst of lions. I lie down with those who devour men. Their teeth are spears and arrows. Their tongues are sharp swords. God, be exalted above the heavens. Let your glory be above the whole earth. They prepared a net for my steps. I was downcast. They dug a pit ahead of me. But they fell into it. My heart is confident, God. My heart is confident. I will sing praises. Wake up, my soul. Wake up, harp and lyre. I will wake up the dawn. I will praise you, Lord, among the peoples. I will sing praises to you among the nations. For your faithful love is as high as the heavens. Your faithfulness reaches to the clouds. God, be exalted above the heavens. Let your glory be over the whole earth." Wow. Sometimes, dealing with this information and doing all these things, I feel as though I'm walking among men who devour other men and walking among the lions. And the only time I find that solace and peace is when I turn around and think about how great God is and how my soul is committed to the Lord, and I will always be blessed by him. And as long as I seek his forgiveness and guidance and wisdom on a daily basis, then I know God will be there for me, and he will be there for you too if you just do the same things. When you walk among these paths of these lions, and you walk among the lions, and you are trapped by these people, and they dig a pit ahead of you, remember, God will make them fall into it. So if you guys don't take anything else away, I hope those words touched your heart. I hope they're a prayer for protection for each and every one of you as we go through these times of mistrust and misinformation and uncertainty, as we try to work our way through the facts and to find what's the objective truth. Then I hope God, and I pray God just continues to give us the guidance and clarity of his wisdom to know what is true and what is false. The cards will fall where they may, but we have to trust that God has already decided that, and his plan is the one we should be trusting. So just remember that, and I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Again, thank you to everybody who's hit the subscribe button. If you haven't hit that button yet, please come here, click that big red subscribe button. It helps me out big time. And make sure you hit the bell for notifications. But that's it. I'm going to sign off now. This has been great. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really going to be reading through those. It's going to be fascinating. But I'm Craig. This has been Just Informed Talk. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.